Good evening, everybody. Hi. So, show of hands, who was here last year and heard my talk about prostitution and bankers? Okay, well, for those of you who were here last year, thank you for coming back. And I'm sorry if it's going to be disappointing that it's actually G-rated this year. So those of you who weren't here, very sorry. We will get asked back and again for those of you who missed it the first time. So I've been busy since I saw you last. Part of the theme of my story last year was about being an entrepreneur as a woman and how difficult it was to break into and start my own business. And so since I saw you last, I started another business in addition to the business that I have going now. And so I guess sort of a sideline message for you is to just, you just got to go for it. You got to do the things that you got to do. But the story that I wanted to tell you today is actually where I think I might have gotten my entrepreneurial start. And it goes way, way, way back. And I am just a couple months away from 50, so this is a very long time ago. So the fact that I remember it is impressive. So I want to tell you about a story about how I'm pretty sure this is my earliest money memory. I can't think of anything earlier than this. And the theme that I want you to take away from this, and we'll talk about it again at the end, is about honoring your money history. Because good or bad, we all have things that happen to us in our life when it comes to money that influence us. And so whether they were good things or bad things, they helped form who we are today. And so we need to take a step back sometimes, and instead of feeling pissed off about all the bad stuff that happened to us in the past, feel grateful that we got those lessons, because now we have those lessons, and those lessons help us be better as we go along with our lives. So the story that I want to tell you is about when I was 5 years old, and I think the mic just came on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting a little rattle there. So when I was 5 years old, so back then, we would spend the summers with my grandparents at a lake in Indiana. Now this was not a nice ritzy lake. This wasn't the Hamptons. This was a very podunk kind of lake in the center of Indiana, and it didn't really have a whole lot that was appealing about it. So I sort of say that because I don't want you to feel like I had this really privileged background, because I really didn't. So I also didn't have a very poor background. I had a very, very middle class background. So my family was always middle class. But we would spend the summers at this lake with my grandparents. And life at the lake was really fun. I mean, from sunup to sundown, we were in the water, we were always doing things. But my papa, my dad's dad, was a businessman himself. And he caught me one day and said, "Hey, do you want to earn some money?" Sure, that sounds great to me. And so his idea was, so this is back in the 70s. I told you I was almost 50, so when I was 5, it was the 70s, and everyone smoked. Did everyone smoke in your family back then? Yeah. My parents didn't smoke, oddly, but my grandparents did, my aunts did, my uncles, everybody but my parents, it seems, and of course I didn't, because I was 5. So he said, "Hey, you can earn some money for me by helping me clean up the property." So what he did is he pulled out one of those Folgers coffee cans. Remember those? Yeah. Big metal cans. And he commissioned me to go around the property and pick up cigarette butts. Isn't that gross? Yeah, see, it's not a very pretty background for my money. So what I would have to do is I would go around and I would just pick up butts off the ground. So, around the picnic table was kind of that's a good place to go. Lots of people would hang out there and smoke and just drop their cigarettes. And over by the beach was good. I would pick up some. And so I would pick up these butts, and then at the end of the day, he would let me dump them out on the sidewalk and count them out.
Oh my gosh.
Picking them up and I was playing with them.
Oh my gosh.
So if you hear about me dying from lung cancer at some point, you'll understand why. You wouldn't understand. So then I would count them out for him. So remember, I'm 5, right? So this was helpful because I was learning and counting, and then he would give me a penny per butt that I got. So back in 1974, that was a fair amount of money. It was a decent wage because I was fast. And they smoked a lot. All day, every day. Oh, and they drank a lot too, but that's a whole other story. So I would pick up these butts and I would count them out, and then he would pay me. And so that was the best thing ever, because then when we would go into town, because this was a very rural area we were in, and so when we would have to go get groceries or go into town, it was like a thing, to go into town. So we would go into this like really crappy little five and dime place, and my sister and I would buy things like, Barbie doll clothes or, something at the store. So I would blow my entire wad every time I went to the store. So I would have this money, and then I would go and I would spend it. So lessons that I learned from this, I think, are that it was good to be enterprising, because he offered me this job, and I was very eager about this job, and so I would do this every day. I would pick up all these cigarette butts. And then one day, I got this great idea, because I thought, where else could I find a lot of cigarette butts in a short period of time? Any guesses?
Ashtrays.
Car ashtrays. So the other thing that my grandparents were famous for is they were always inviting all their friends to the lake. They'd come for the weekends, whatever. So I would go and go into everyone's car and clean out their ashtrays and got it up in. So I was up to my profits quickly and started making even more money. And it was awesome, because then, as I said, we would go into town and I would blow all my money. So I think this is where I got my first taste of entrepreneurism, because I was able to make money, and I did it all by myself. Nobody helped me do this. Nobody gave me the money and gave me the job. He just offered the opportunity, and I took it. And I learned that it pays to be enterprising. It pays to think outside the box and to think about ways that you can actually do more with the skills and the gifts and the opportunities that you have. So those are the good lessons, I think. But I think there were some bad lessons too, and those were that nobody taught me the value of saving any of that money, because I think now, and it kind of makes me want to barf, when I think about, boy, if I had just like saved part of that money and stuck it in the savings account, shoot, 45 years later, what might that be worth? I mean, don't get me wrong, I wasn't making like hundreds of dollars, it was probably $20 or $30 in the summer, but still, it was a lot of money back then. And so nobody taught me about that. And nobody taught me the value of doing good with my money. So I didn't go and buy things for my sister. She was a lazy piece of crap. And she decided I was sitting in her bed all day. So I was like, I'm not helping her out. She's my money. So she makes tons of money now, so I don't feel bad at all about it. But really, if we want to think about it, and we want to like psychoanalyze her, it's probably why she makes so much money now, because her sister never helped her out. She knows me, that's right. Actually, no, she did actually help me when I started my business, and so I will never forget that. Even though she was a Republican, I was act of kindness from her. So, but nobody taught me about doing for others back then. It was kind of a free-for-all, if you will. I mean, it's not that I was competing with other people. No one else was picking up the cigarette butts. Everybody else thought it was gross. Now I think it was gross. Back then I was like, yay. Every butt's money, so let's do it. So I think that, doing it all over again, and the lessons that I try to get across to my daughter now, who's 10, and unfortunately or fortunately, nobody in our family smokes, so there's nothing for her to do. But the lessons I try to get across to her are not only the value of making your own money and how satisfying and rewarding it is as a person, but particularly as a female, to have economic control over your own destiny, and being able to make your own money and then do something really powerful with that money. And so the lessons I try to give to her are lessons about saving, and lessons about giving, and lessons about doing good things in the community and all of that. So to wrap it back up and bring it to a close, I started off by saying you need to honor your money story. And so when I think back, I did not have a hard life where I lived on the street, or my parents were drug addicts or anything like that. I have nothing like that was in my background. We did have hard times growing up, and that's another story for another year potentially. But on the whole, though, we all have a story. We all have things that formed us, and they might be little stories or they might be big stories, but they're stories. And as they accumulate over the years, they make us who we are, and they inform us. And so what I really, really, really hate hearing are women who feel like they can't do anything with their lives because of their background, because of this shitty thing that happened to them in the past, or these horrible parents that they had, or this bad husband that they had, or insert bad man, whatever it was in their life that did these rotten things to them and caused them to be in the bad place that they're in. I hate hearing that story, because instead we should embrace the bad and the good, because the bad influences we had in our background are just as informative to help us learn and grow and move forward as the good ones. But I think too often we get hammered down with the bad and we just don't, we feel like we can't do it. And so I think that it's going to take us as women really a lot of consistent support for ourselves and for others, other women, in order to say, listen, you can do these things. You know, you can pull yourself up by your bootstraps or your high heel, whatever straps, or whatever it is. Slingbacks, I don't know. I'm not wearing them. I don't know. But we can help each other and we can help ourselves. So please honor your money stories, and I'm looking forward to hearing all the rest of the money stories that are here tonight. And I hope that some of you will be inspired to share your stories too. Thank you.